Today we're visiting with Bud Erickson, and Bud is connected with both the VFW and the American Legion in Stoughton, and is one of the spearheads of the Veterans Park. So Bud, how did the project get started, and how did you select the location?
Well, we had talked about this for off and on for quite a few years about doing something, but usually it went as far as that would cost a lot of money or it'd be a lot of work, and that kind of ended it. So one day, Dwayne Broughton and I were down at the Legion on a Saturday afternoon and talking about another item, and a friend of his came over and started talking to him, and the friend was from Brooklyn, and he told us about what they're doing with their memorial over there in Brooklyn. When that guy left, Dwayne looked at me and said, if Brooklyn can do it, we certainly ought to be able to do it. So the next week, we went down to Mayor Donna Olson just to see what she thought about the idea. And anyway, she's very supportive right from the beginning and encouraged us. There's one thing that she asked that I remember. She said, what do you think this is going to look like when you get done? And my response was, we don't have the foggiest idea. And we didn't. We just wanted to build a memorial. We then started looking around at different sites where we're going to build this. We looked at different locations here in Stoughton, and nothing really fit. It just wasn't satisfactory. So one of our members, we had talked about the Linnerud Farm, and the place we had in mind was the corner of 51 and B out there. And so Sonny Swangstu, one of our committee members, went out and talked to Oscar, and within about 2 weeks, he said they would donate what we needed. Wow. And they donated 3+ acres. And that's really how we got started and why it was located there.
And it's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
As you enter the memorial from the parking lot, can you tell us what do you see?
Okay, well, just before that, how we got to that, we formed a steering committee, and there were 11 of us, and 9 of us were veterans, and 2 others, non-vets, Dave Stolen and Roger Nitchie. And but anyway, then we visited a lot of memorials in the southwest Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota. And every time we went, the group, when we had the tour or we visited the place, we would sit down and say, what do we like and what is it we don't like, you know? And one of the first ones we visited had wooden benches. And we noticed that a couple of the screws were loose and the benches weren't that old. So one thing we said, we're not going to have wooden benches, and we don't. We have 38 granite benches out here in the park. But back to your question, as you start walking in, to the park. Let's see, I'm going to get a picture of it. Well, yes, this picture that shows the Stoughton Area Veterans Memorial Park, and that's the entryway. That's the wrought iron entryway there. And as you walk in, you look ahead and see the what we call the promenade area, and that is pavers, various sizes, 3 different sizes. And most of the ones there have the names of veterans engraved in those stones. Some people call them bricks, but on both sides. And we're still adding to that, and that is nearly getting filled. On each side, there are the benches. As I mentioned, 38 of them, for people to be able to sit and contemplate and think. They're on the as you enter, though, there are 2 pillars, big pillars dedicated to the veterans, and on the back side of those pillars are the list of major donors that are there forever. But the next thing is a big item are the educational pillars. There are 12 of those, and on each one there's a short vignette about something. It starts out, I'll give a couple of examples. In the first one, it's the short history of the Civil War on one side, And then you have the Gettysburg Address, the Light Brigade, which became the Red Arrow Division during World War I, and it had its roots here in Stoughton and Edgerton. And then the Andersonville prison, and the 3-day battle, the three battle weekend, Gettysburg and Vicksburg and Antietam, all through three of those were very significant battle. The North won all three, and anyway, that's there. And one other one is the Sherman's March to the Sea. Number two, then is the Spanish-American War. One of the ones stories there is the Battle of San Juan Hill. And then we move on to World War II, World War One. Number one is the history, trench warfare, Flanders Field, the Treaty of Versailles. World War II, there are three of those really. The first one, of course, the little history of World War II. That was hard to get all that information down into 350 words, but that's where it is. And then it's got the impact of the war on the United States homeland. And Rosie the Riveter is one of the vignettes. Then moving on, number 5 killer is the Pacific Theater and the war against Japan. Pearl Harbor, of course, the Battle of Midway, and others, all the way through till the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Number 7 is the European theater war, and particularly focused there, the Normandy invasion and the Battle of the Bulge. Number 8, the Korean War. Number 9 and 10, the Vietnam War, the Tet Offensive, Hamburger Hill. And then 11 is the Gulf Wars and Kuwait. And number 12 is what we call our Stoughton Patriots. And the 4 Patriots, Truman Olson, who received the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest honor that a veteran or a service person can get. He was fighting the German in Italy. The next one is Don Heiliger, who was a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War, nearly 6 years as a prisoner of war. Marcia Gates, another Stoughton native, who was a nurse in the Philippines, and she spent 3 years as a prisoner of war. And the last one is the Light Brigade, which I said earlier has its roots here in Stoughton, and was very significant in World War II and are still active as the 32nd Division.
Amazing, amazing. As we move toward the centerpiece, can you tell us about the centerpiece itself and the names listed and the flag and the eagle of the centerpiece? Okay,
here I got a picture of it. First of all, that shows the centerpiece. On the centerpiece, of course, is the. Let me just read this so I get it right.
You want me to hold that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's we call it the honor area, and the pentagonal-shaped deck signifies the park's relationship to the military and its 5-star command. The hexagonal granite tribute pedestal of honor displays the attributes of courage, duty, and sacrifice instilled in all servicemen and women. The Georgia Gray centerpiece, with its massive base, contains the names of 174 area servicemen who died in combat in service to the country. So the motto was all gave some, and some gave all. Within the centerpiece is a blue pearl depiction of the folded flag of honor, which the folded flag like that is given to the surviving relative when at a funeral when the veteran passes away. On top of the centerpiece sits a bronze eagle, the symbol of America's strength, power, and freedom. Okay, that's that. And now we go on to the next thing. On radiate out from the centerpiece are the India black granite walls. They contain the names of 5,676 Stoughton area men and women who have served in the U.S. military dating back to the Civil War. Now, when we started collecting these names, we said, how does one get his name on the list? And we said, we're not going to be, we're going to be more inclusive. And we said, to get his name on the list, it had to be a Stoughton area resident. By Stoughton area, meant Stoughton School District. So where did we get the names? Well, if there were a member of the VFW or the American Legion, we had the names. But most of them, of course, we advertised and said, bring your names. A lot of them came from the veterans themselves, but most of them came from families or friends, going all the way back to the Civil War.
Okay. Well, what's the story, Bud, behind the road sign on the south end of the memorial?
Okay. Well, that was something that just came out. We weren't quite sure what we were going to do until a person by the name of Pat Holton volunteered to donate that to us, as long as it was commemorating Paul Crobby. And that is dedicated to him.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. What was the cost to build the memorial, and how did you raise the funds?
I just want to say one other thing here.
Okay.
On that. The names, we are still collecting names, and every year, just prior to Memorial Day and just prior to Veterans Day, we add new names. Now, just this week, I was talking to a guy who's a Korean War veteran, Stoughton resident, but for some reason he didn't turn his name in.
Really?
And there was some misconception, although we tried to stay clear of it. People kind of believed, well, I didn't graduate from Stoughton High School, so I don't deserve it. But that's not the case. If you're a Stoughton area resident, at any time, and we're a veteran, you're eligible to have your name on there. Now, two of the people that worked almost constantly on verifying the names that they was accurate were Basil Sadler and Roger Cleveland, who verified those names that they were legit, but that was quite a task. Now, the cost to build the park was $1.2 million, and our first fundraiser was Jim Oler and the Sons of the American Legion had a spaghetti dinner, and our first contribution was $150. Wow. That's where we started. Yeah. Almost all of the money came from Stoughton area businesses, residents, and organizations. Almost all of it. So it was quite a contribution by the Stoughton community. Okay. Now, people are still donating. We have a legacy place where if they donate $1,000 or more, they get a brick and placed in a separate area. We have two major fundraising events. One is the Raise the Flag. You see the flags around town on 5 veteran holidays. And that's run by Tammy and Mike Needfelt of the Thrivent Insurance. And the other one is the Freedom Ride, which takes place once a year. Dan Gallagher and Rick Gullickson head that up. But that's pretty much it as far as our fundraising. But it's an ongoing thing. We have different events all year long to support it. It costs us about $15,000 a year for the mowing and the mulching and insurance and lights and whatever else we need out there.
Okay. We showed some pictures.
Well, we can. Just to say, we often get a question, how long did it take you guys to do this? We started our first event, or first meeting, was on July 18th of 2014, and that's when we got the inspiration, and we had our dedication on October 17th of 2017.
Amazing, truly amazing. Do you want to show the
beginning? Let's see, what do we have there? Oh, that's one of the pictures when we first started the digging out there. You see the Caterpillar, the backhoe there. 3 of us, that's me with the red shirt, and Dave Stolen and Dwayne Broughton. Dwayne was our leader, general chairman of the whole thing, and he did an excellent job. Let's see what else we have here.
Okay.
I think I showed that one. Here's a little further, the beginning work. You want to hold it, Susan?
Sure.
That's some of the early digging. There was a lot putting the footings in and everything. Everything went smoothly, but it all took time. And finally, I'm going to close with this. This was the committee who did the whole thing. In the back row here is Vic Duzel. Now, all of these, of these 11 people, we met every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and until as long as it took, usually till around noon each time. 9 of these people of the 11 are still with us. Vic Dussel moved to Indiana, closer to his family. Randy Robertson, who's now the chairman, when we have our meetings every 3 months now. Roger Nitchie, Dwayne Broughton, Roger Cleveland, Basil Sadler, Sonny Swangstu, Jim Oler, Dave Stoughton, Bud Erickson, and Dennis Durkee. And that concludes our program.
And if you want to see it, it's just north of Stoughton on County Trunk B. A beautiful park.
Thank you.
Thank you.